What's up guys, today we're talking about METHUSS and whether you should main it in Gundam Evolution. So, METHUSS is a single target pocket healer. It has a repair cable that latches onto teammates and heals them. However, it's not just a healer, it's also a damage dealer in its own right. It's capable of defending itself and securing some frags with its primary fire and other abilities. It uses a quick firing projectile type weapon. It has about 18 rounds in the ammo, so it's not too many. But it's still like a solid amount of damage, quick damage. It has 800 HP total, so it's not really to be hunting frags like I've been saying, but it's mainly just to protect itself when it gets attacked. It has 2 dashes and a flight ability also that help it survive, and basically let it survive long enough for its auto aim damage turret and teammates to help it. This character is best chosen to provide the highest overtime healing to teammates like Sazabi. Because Sazabi benefits most from this. The character feels something like if you took Mercy and then made it so that Mercy could be using its damage and its healing at the same time. So let's talk about how good the character is. METHUSS is very, very valuable to a team. It essentially satisfies a need that nothing else in the game can really provide, which is the ability to provide consistent healing. The healing numbers aren't too high, but they are solid. It heals about 170 per second. So we're looking at healing your average character from low to full in about, 6 seconds kind of thing. And so it's pretty solid in that category. It has a solution to the problem that a lot of games currently have, where a lot of the games that I've played anyway, where people get knocked down to low health and they are going to have to waste time to go run away to get healing. It's not a big deal in something like Zaku. So if Zaku gets hit down to low HP, it can dip, go run out, get a health pack, but during that time it's staging and getting into a new position to go on a good flank, if it does it properly. But something like Sazabi isn't really meant to be doing that too frequently, and it needs to be taking care of its team and playing as a main space creating tank. So if you don't have something to keep you in the fight, you have to sit there and just wait. You have to wait for your passive healing, which takes a long time for Sazabi especially. You can't fire at all during that time period, or take any damage, right? So in addition to this, METHUSS can also resurrect teammates without having to go on top of their body. Its repair cable does automatically start resing them, which is really nice. It means that it doesn't have to expose itself in the situation. Its turret is also quite solid. It's not super powerful, but it basically sets a timer on things that dive it. It does 130 damage per second, so something like Zaku with 800 HP that jumps on it, if it stays for longer than 6 seconds or so, it's going to die, right? That's assuming it takes no other damage. So it's just like this little thing that just starts beating them down, so they have to get out. So if you survive longer than that, you're okay. Its general damage is pretty solid. It deals 99 to the body, 198 to a head with a headshot, and like I said, it's pretty fast shooting and has 18 ammo. So, you can deal a pretty hefty amount of damage with it. And it also has a 400 damage projectile ability, rapid projectile ability, that is on a cooldown. So it can do a decent amount of damage, to be honest. It will, of course, generally lose 1v1s, but that's not really what you're expecting. You're just buying time. And, in the process, sometimes you do outfrag the flanker. So, yeah. Its ultimate is extremely powerful, too. It gives damage, a damage boost and damage resistance to any target. I don't know the exact numbers, but it seems to reduce damage by about 60% and also increase damage by about 60%. So throwing that onto like a Sazabi, a Pale Rider, XCR Barbatos, and it's honestly just free. It's super convenient because it's an ultimate you can rely on. It's an ultimate that you can pop onto your Pale Rider when he's about to ult, and you can win a whole fight off of that, versus some other ones that are like just in the moment, get a kill, but not win a fight type ultimates. So moving on to skill requirement information, its mechanical skill has a low requirement overall. It does have damaging capabilities, and arguably, yes, the projectile primary fire is harder to hit than something like Zaku's gun, but that's not where most of its value comes from. Most of its value does come from its positioning and effective healing, which is auto aim based, so it's not a requirement per se. Like I said, the primary fire needs aim. The extra little 400 damage projectile ability needs aim, but the turret doesn't, the healing secondary fire doesn't, and the G maneuver also doesn't. So that's why I'm saying it's not a big requirement. On top of that, the positioning is mainly game sensed based, and it's not too mechanically intensive like something like Zaku's movement is, even though it has 2 dashes. In regards to like game knowledge, there is like a moderate requirement. It definitely benefits from having a high knowledge, but it's also not like super intensive. And the reason for that is because it's a backliner character, and backliners positioning tends to be dependent on where their frontliners are. So if their frontliners are playing a certain corner, the METHUSS will play slightly behind them. If they push forward, the METHUSS will push forward. If they back up, the METHUSS will back up. That's tend to be how that goes. So they don't have to be the one making the decisions, and because of that, they don't have to be the one having a big requirement and strong requirement mentally of the game to be able to make those decisions. However, the vast majority of the game knowledge that's needed will come from micro positioning, just how to survive extra long in fights, how to just not peek things when you don't need to, when to do it. And it's just really important not to die in fights. So your decision making is really important. You don't have the ability to heal yourself, and you don't have shields, so your positioning is everything. Especially, like I said, how you've been micro positioning. Also, like your healing priority and uptime. So staying alive, keeping your healing up, constantly healing is really good. The G maneuver timing is also important because you can turn fights that way, but that's not even the main core. So jumping on to, will it get buffed or nerfed soon? METHUSS, I don't really expect to be getting too many changes. It's in a pretty good state overall. The consistent theme of what I've been saying is, yeah, it's got strong damage, solid healing, but they're not too overpowered. They're not oppressive. It doesn't feel like if it's pocketing something that you can't kill it. The damage numbers you can work around them. So that's just nice, and it's good for the game in general. So because of this, we're not really going to see the damage numbers change. We're not going to see healing numbers change. And the turret probably won't get any changes. The G maneuver probably won't change. I don't fundamentally like damage resistance on ultimates like this, because I don't know. That plus healing, it starts making this difficult balancing situation where, because they get a damage resistance, when you apply healing on them, the healing that they're getting is extra valuable. So it kind of just messes with things a little bit. But yeah, however, there is a really important change that we might see, hopefully we see for METHUSS, and it has to do with a quality of life change to the range of it, and also to a certain part of it, which is the most important part. The healing cable has a low range, and it's just not long enough. It doesn't allow you to position safely like Mercy's does in Overwatch, where you can still heal from distance, but you're able to play around a corner and things like that, which also increases the skill cap. If this gets changed, it'll change a lot. However, the absolute most important thing has to do with how the tether breaks on it. When I was playing in the network test, if you even went slightly around a corner and the METHUSS was trying to heal you, it would instantly break. Or versus something like Mercy's has like about a second before it breaks. And that's really valuable, because essentially what happens is you're playing Sazabi, your METHUSS is behind you, you're healing, and then the METHUSS is behind the corner with you. As soon as you step around the corner, the METHUSS can't heal you anymore, or it has to like walk out and start healing you. But when it does that, it's now exposed, and so it just makes this like really harsh. You must do this, and also just kind of it feels bad, to be honest. And if they give it about a second of leeway, it'll increase the skill cap on the character, increase the value of the character, and it'll be really good overall. So the next thing we're going to talk about is how fun the character is. It's really fun if you enjoy this type of mobile suit. If you like playing healing characters, and also if you like playing healing characters that can damage, then yeah, you'll really like it. I hate it though, because that's not the kind of stuff that I like doing. But I know, and I can still, feel that it's fun for those kind of people, but that's just not the kind of stuff I like doing. So if you're like me, then you won't like it. But if you're not like me, then you will, simple as that. There was also just, some fun things about it in general. Just the fact that you can slap down some enemies that jump onto you is fun. It's nice to have that, and it's a nice change from other games like, Overwatch, right, as Mercy. Because when you're playing Mercy, if you're ever damaging, you're probably misplaying. Not all the time, but like 9 out of 10 times. So yeah, this game allows you with METHUSS to have the same sort of enjoyment while also able to frag out. So nice, right? In general, also Menace is just powerful and necessary because of that, because it's the highest damage, it's the highest healing character in the game. So you won't be harassed to change your character. People won't, start flaming you for playing Menace, which would be very frustrating. So in regards to final ratings, is it good? It's really powerful. So, obviously that just improves its status. I'm just going to bump it up a couple of letters. But the main reason it's so good is because it fills a role that nothing else does. And because of that, we're going to give it an A rating. The healing in the game, I know I feel a lot of people arguing that it's not needed because you can go grab health packs, but it just amplifies your uptime so drastically that it's honestly needed. It's necessary. Your average game won't be as bad without it, so it's not going to be painful to play without it. But if we're talking like trying to maximize your value on a team and trying to have the best chance of winning and to evenly match teams, if you don't have a Metis, you will lose. So because of that, and because there's only these 2 core healers in the game, it's just gonna be meta, So that means you're not gonna be concerned about your character just not being bad. It's not gonna get buffed. It's not gonna get nerfed. Sorry, and it's already good. So, and it's like perma meta. So that's a big A tier. The reason it doesn't get an S, S++ tier is just because of some of its issues with skill transferring. It's not as bad as Mercy is because Mercy has absolute no aim requirements, but the reason it's not quite as bad is because it can aim, but it still doesn't transfer that well into other mobile suits. It is projectile based, so you're not even like learning hit scan type aim, so you could transfer over something like Zaku. It does have some healing skill transfer to GM and other mobile suits that they'll add in the future, but they're not here yet, So that's the situation with that. However, I do have to add a really important caveat. If you are using it to avoid learning how to play and learning how to aim specifically, then you need to not do that. You're going to be in a situation where someone locks your character and then you just feed the game. You just toss it because you're so bad and you don't have the capability to play other characters. And that definitely happens. So it's better to bite the bullet early, and when everyone is learning the game, to just learn how to aim, even get solidly with aim. You can still play the character, but you don't want to use it to just bypass this lack of capability that you have in this category. Want to go the supportive route and main Metis? Then make sure to check out my Metis mobile suit guide. In the video, I talk about its abilities, its strengths and weaknesses, when you should play Metis, and how you should play Metis. Thanks so much for watching, everyone.